First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Welcome to WUFT News' First at 5. I'm Samantha Narson.
And I'm Ophelie Jacobson. Thanks for joining us today. In New York City, the search for the suspect in yesterday's subway shooting is over. Frank James was arrested in Manhattan this afternoon. NBC's Chris Pallone has the latest.
In New York, the news an anxious city had been waiting to hear.
Moments ago, Frank Robert James was stopped on the street and arrested by members of the New York City Police Department.
New York City police say they arrested 62-year-old Frank James in Manhattan Wednesday afternoon. This picture was taken just moments after police took James into custody. A tip to the city's Crime Stoppers hotline directed police to his location in the East Village.
He was taken into custody without incident and has been transported to an NYPD facility. He will be charged with committing yesterday's appalling crime in Brooklyn.
After the Tuesday morning shooting, police first called Frank James a person of interest.
I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video short.
They combed through bigoted tirades he had posted on YouTube. But after examining clues left behind at the Brooklyn crime scene, including the key to a rented van, a 9mm handgun, and a bag of fireworks, they concluded James was their lone suspect. The attack happened on a northbound N train Tuesday as it pulled into Brooklyn's 36th Street station. Witnesses say a man set off 2 smoke bombs and then opened fire.
That's a sort of terror that I haven't seen before since 9/11.
Investigators say the gunman fired 33 shots before his weapon apparently jammed.
We hope this arrest brings some solace to the victims and the people of the city of New York.
10 people were shot, but all are expected to survive. Chris Pallone, NBC News, New York.
A South Florida mom is charged with killing her 2 young kids. The children, ages 3 and 5, were found dead last night, tied up in a bedroom in a home in Miami's Little Haiti neighborhood. Police say their mom appeared to be hallucinating or in a crisis and told the arriving officers to, quote, "Come get them, I don't want them." The arrest report says she initiated multiple calls to 911, but never said why. Buckeye Nation is remembering Dwayne Haskins, who was crushed by a dump truck while attempting to walk across a South Florida expressway. That happened in the early morning hours last Saturday, and it's still not known what he was doing. Last night at his alma mater, current and former Ohio State players joined fans to honor Haskins. Haskins' number 7 jersey, along with candles, cards, and messages of love, are part of a makeshift memorial. A memorial service is set for April 24th at his high school in Maryland. Miami police believe they've now solved a cold case, a 1985 double murder. Back then, 2 men were killed in Little Havana in a dispute over splitting the proceeds of a robbery. Witnesses named a suspect, but police could never find him. That man is now almost 80 and now has been recently living in Tampa. Authorities became aware of his whereabouts when asked to do a wellness check on an elderly man who seemed to be disoriented. He had no ID, but fingerprints matched for the old murder warrant.
Florida Tax Watch says after tomorrow, you'll be working for your own benefit rather than to pay all your taxes. The symbolic Taxpayer Independence Day comes on April 14th this year for Floridians. Tax Watch says it now takes, on average, all your pay for the first 103 days of a year to cover the entire range of government tax burdens. This year's filing deadline for federal income taxes is now just 5 days away on Monday, April 18th. The deadline slid back from the 15th because the IRS is closed Friday to recognize the new Emancipation Day holiday, which falls on Saturday. And Governor Ron DeSantis increased teacher salaries in Florida for this year's budget. WUFT's Kennedy Mason joins us now to tell us why these raises are important and for many long overdue. Kennedy, what did you find?
Ophelia, I was curious about what it takes for teachers to survive outside of the classroom. For many, the answer was the same as what it takes to survive inside of the classroom: having resources.
Governor Ron DeSantis released the budget for the Sunshine State. It increases the minimum salary for teachers. The National Education Association reports in 2021, Florida ranked 30th in the nation for average teacher starting salaries. The new starting salary will increase to $47,000, putting Florida in 9th place. The raise includes new and veteran teachers. Gainesville High School teacher Kirk Tapley has 6 years of teaching under his belt. The increase is a welcome addition to his bank account.
I wasn't anywhere near the $47,000, so I'm always happy to get more money.
Some longtime teachers are frustrated about the increase, saying it should have happened a long time ago.
It's definitely overdue. Teachers as professionals are not valued when it comes to monetary value.
Tapley has a lot of friends who left the profession early because of salary.
It's going to turn into one of those things where if we don't replace them, then what happens to class sizes? What happens to people having to cover for other people's classes?
He believes raising minimum salaries is an important step to encourage teachers to stay.
As many people across the state are still skeptical about the increase, DeSantis said it will be a process, but he hopes to do more for teachers next year. Live from the newsroom, I'm Kennedy Mason. Now, let's send it back to the desk.
Today it was so nice and sunny.
I know, right? I'm wondering if we are making it out of the cooler weather. WUFT's Ashley Weinstein joins us now with the weather forecast. Ashley?
Yes, so this week is what I like to call a preview of summertime-like weather. It's gorgeous outside today, a little bit humid if you ask me. There are some clouds in our sky, which we expect here in Florida, but overall 84 degrees feels like 84 as well. These temperatures are sitting in the low to mid 80s for the rest of our region too. 82 in Gainesville, 82 in Bronson, and 83 in Stark. Now for our evening temperatures, we aren't going to be getting out of the mid to high 60s, so it's really going to be a great week for late night or early morning outdoor activities. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, today the world is reacting after President Biden accused Moscow of genocide. The escalation of words comes as new satellite images show Russian troops advancing on Ukraine's east.
Russian President Vladimir Putin vows this war will continue until its completion. And now President Biden is promising more weapons to help Ukraine defend itself. NBC's Alice Barr reports from Washington.
And that's what we've done.
President Biden's words echoing across the world today after he called Russia's actions in Ukraine genocide during a speech about rising inflation.
None of it should hinge on whether a dictator declares war and commits genocide in half a world away.
The administration had avoided using that hard-to-prove label, but the president later doubled down.
Putin is just trying to wipe out the idea of even being able to be a Ukrainian. We'll let the lawyers decide internationally whether or not it qualifies, but it sure seems that way to me.
President Biden speaking today with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who called the genocide comments true words of a true leader. President Biden now promising an additional $800 million in military aid to Ukraine, including weapons, ammunition, and helicopters.
We tailored this list specifically to meet the needs that they have asked for.
That as Russian President Vladimir Putin said peace talks have reached a dead end, insisting his forces would achieve their goals. U.S. officials warning a new Russian offensive is taking shape in eastern Ukraine that could be even more punishing.
They're going to pound civilian targets, hoping to force capitulation. They're going to wreck the Ukraine.
As new atrocities are revealed, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe now finding that Russia committed war crimes in targeted civilian attacks in the besieged city of Mariupol, where the mayor says the death toll could top 20,000. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Another Washington, D.C. official tests positive for COVID-19.
That's right, Samantha. U.S. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack is sharing his positive COVID test out of an abundance of transparency. And coming up on WUFT News First at 5, find out more about the ongoing surge on Capitol Hill.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. The new COVID surge on Capitol Hill continues, and now more than 100 members of Congress have experienced an infection. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack is among the latest to announce a positive test. Almost all of the recent cases have been mild. No one in this wave has died, in contrast to the early strains which killed a Texas congressman and a Louisiana congressman-elect. The national numbers also show cases trending up, but hospitalizations way down. Given the surge, the CDC is extending the travel mask mandate at least 15 days until May 3rd. Airlines had been asking for relief from precautions like mask mandates and pre-departure testing for international flights.
April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. WUFT's Isabella Leandri tells us what Alachua County is doing to raise awareness.
That's right. Today I visited a site where Pinwheels for Prevention represent children around the world. I also spoke with 2 experts on child abuse prevention. Nearly 700,000 children are abused in the United States each year, according to the National Children's Alliance. April is dedicated to providing awareness and preventing child abuse.
It's our job as a community to keep the children safe.
The organization reports 65% of child abuse cases are sexual abuse, 21% are physical abuse, 8% are neglect, 7% witness to violence, 3% drug endangerment, and 7% are classified as other. The Alachua County Child Abuse Prevention Task Force plants Pinwheels for Prevention each year in front of UF Health Shands Hospital.
Our children are our most precious asset that we have.
Blue pinwheels for prevention such as these are planted as a reminder of the happy and healthy childhoods wanted for all children.
When you look at a pinwheel, you think of the whimsical nature of children. You know, when you look at a pinwheel, you think of a child, most likely.
Prevent Child Abuse America introduced the blue pinwheel as the national symbol in 2008. The Child Advocacy Center in Gainesville is dedicated to providing a safe and supportive environment for children who have experienced abuse or neglect.
Making sure that they're protected, that they're heard, and that no kids are falling through the cracks.
In 2021, the Child Advocacy Center served 2,101 children. This number increased amid the pandemic as the center served 1,799 children in 2019.
One of the main things about child abuse is that there's this perception that it couldn't happen to anybody that I know. Like, oh, that's something that happens to other people. Like, it couldn't be somebody that I know. But that leads to a lack of awareness in what's going on in kids' life.
If you suspect a child is being abused or neglected, you're asked to report it to your local law enforcement agency or the Florida Abuse Hotline. It's important to note the data is considered incomplete as the actual number of children abused goes underreported.
Looking absolutely beautiful today. We're getting that summer-like preview for the rest of this week. More to come in my full forecast after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome back. Taking a look at our campus cam, there are some clouds in the sky, but overall it's been an absolutely gorgeous day, giving us that summertime-like weather. 82 degrees, feels like 82 degrees. Now looking at our satellite and outlook here, we're clear in our region. However, there is some severe weather happening right now out in the Mississippi area. Now some of that could make its way potentially to the Panhandle by tomorrow, but luckily for us in our area, we are staying out of that severe weather. Look at these temperatures in our area. We're looking at the low to mid 80s in much of our region. 82 in Gainesville, 83 in Stark, and 83 in Ocala. Now with this summertime-like weather also comes a high pollen count. I know I'm affected by it and need to take my allergy pill every day. Look at how high these pollen counts are. Looks like we're good on ragweed for this week, but grass and tree definitely ticking up, so make sure to consult your allergist this time of year if you need to. Now tonight we do have a cold front coming through our area. Now we're not going to get cooler temperatures like we normally do with the cold front, and that is due to high pressure prevailing in our area along with drier conditions and dry air masses prevailing in our area. So even though we're getting this cold front in our area, we see there's not even too much shower activity. Some of this green activity here, a spotty shower or two along with that front, but really not too much chance for rain here as this cold front comes through our area tomorrow, and it will stall a bit, and as it makes its way fully out of our area on Friday, that would be our largest possibility for storms. But again, nothing too concerning there, and temperatures are going to stay warm this week. So again, that cold front is coming through tonight, largely into tomorrow. It will stall into Friday, but again, those temperatures aren't going to be a concern to get cool. Fair and warm through tomorrow and through the weekend. And again, we're getting that summertime preview. So we may have a passing shower or two in the afternoons, but for the large part, staying nice, warm, and a bit humid. For our evening temperatures tonight, we're not getting out of the mid to high 60s. So really, this is a great week for early morning walks or late evening plans, a great week to eat lunch outside. And here's a look at your 6-day forecast. Back to the desk.
Coming up in sports, excitement is high as the annual Orange and Blue game kicks off tomorrow. That story and more is coming up next.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome to sports. I'm Julianna Reichenbach. A day many Gator fans have been waiting for since November is nearly here. The Florida football team will play tomorrow in the Swamp for their 2022 Orange and Blue game. The game was initially going to be played Saturday, but head coach Billy Napier switched it. He said he wanted the student body to be here before they leave for Easter weekend. Thursday's night under the lights marks the first spring game fans can attend since 2019. COVID-19 canceled the 2020 game, while last year's was closed to the public. Some interesting storylines to follow. 1. The quarterback battle. Returner Anthony Richardson and Ohio State transfer Jack Miller are frontrunners for the starting job. Will one separate himself? Further, Napier will lead the Gators out into the Swamp for the first time. Will his presence be different from former head coach Dan Mullins? Napier set up the scrimmage to have 4 quarters with a running clock. For those watching from home, the game will air live on SEC Network Plus and ESPN Plus. Meanwhile, admission is free for all fans. Kickoff comes at 7:30 p.m. Today in Gator sports, though, only one team competes. Hence, women's golf takes the spotlight as it tees off at the SEC Championship. The tournament began this morning and runs through Sunday. After run 1, Marina Escobar Domingo leads the way. The Gator women's squad finished 3rd. The Gator gymnastics squad takes on the NCAA semifinals tomorrow night. The Gators will compete with 4 teams, one of them new and defending champion number 3 Michigan, and 2 of them SEC foes, number 7 Auburn and number 11 Missouri. Florida and leader Trinity Thomas have defeated Olympic gold medalist Suni Lee and Auburn twice this season and Missouri once. To make it to the finals, the Gators need a top 2 finish. The semifinal meet broadcast live on ESPN2 tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Gator baseball loses momentum after winning the Arkansas series. Last night in Tallahassee, pitcher Nick Pogue gave up 4 runs to FSU to begin the first inning. Other Gator pitchers were able to stop the bleeding, but Sterling Thompson and Mac Usetti were the only 2 Gators with hits. The rivals are now 1-1 against each other this season. They play again here in Gainesville on May 17th.
Thanks, Julianna. The Berlin Zoo is marking a milestone birthday for one of their beloved animals. Fatu, the world's oldest gorilla, turned 65 today, and to celebrate, the zoo gave her a specially made cake to mark the occasion. She certainly appeared to enjoy the concoction made out of boiled rice and curd with vegetables, raspberries, and blueberries. A western lowland gorilla living in the wild only has a life expectancy of about 40 years, so Fatu making it to 65 is considered extraordinary. And before we go, one last check on the weather.
Getting back to that orange and blue game, we're looking at a great weather forecast here. I might not know a lot about sports, but I do know a lot about the weather. So there could be a passing shower or 2 earlier in the afternoon, but by the time we get to tailgating time and kickoff time, we're looking at warm, fair, and clear weather and still nice for any post-game plans. Let's take a final look at that 6-day outlook. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Ashley. BBC World News is next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7.
But your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a great night.